After what has felt like a lifetime worth of backtesting, live testing, and even live trading, I feel like I have finally put together a strategy that is going to be highly profitable moving forward as of March 22nd, 2025. Now, when I tell you guys, I have spent the last week of my life almost like literally what it feels like fully dedicated to this chart and figuring out what works, I mean it. I have pretty much tested every minute detail that I possibly could think of, whether that be where my stop losses were, my take profits, the way that I enter, the way that I have my bias. And each time I would change one of those things, I would back test at least 15 to 20 trading days worth of trades and collect all of the data for them. What I'm about to show you is what I have come to a conclusion with. Also, if you wouldn't mind dropping a like on this video and subscribing to my channel, it would be much appreciated. With that being said, let's get straight into it. Yeah, this is what my chart looks like after the last couple of days. Each one of these red lines is a session that I tested. First things first, we're gonna hop onto the 3-minute time frame. Now you guys can see that I actually don't have a second chart open. Well, I have gotten rid of the second chart as well as the EMAs. I have gotten rid of pretty much any indicator, any second chart. We are trading price action strictly on the 3-minute time frame. Now, one thing I will say is the way that I used to trade, or the tell BB concepts as you guys like to refer to it as, kinda was, I would say, is 90% model, 10% intuition. This strat I would describe as about probably like 65% model, 35% intuition. Reason being, you are going to need to kind of have general market experience, I think, to be profitable with this strategy, because I have just implemented some of the way that I know that price moves into this strat, because it's what I have found to work the best. Now, obviously, that just comes with time. I've been trading for around 2.5 years, so I would consider myself decently experienced when it comes to reading price action. But that doesn't mean that if you're a new trader, you still cannot use this strat. I definitely still think it is pretty beginner friendly. First things first, I want to go over is the rules, the rulesingtons, guys. Rules are the most important thing of your strategy, so we're going to go ahead and go over them real quick. Now, this isn't really a strategy specific rule, but I have optimized this strategy to work on a 50K account. However, it can work on any account, and I'm going to go more in depth on how to size properly depending on what size account you're trading on. Number one, our session is going to be 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. That is Eastern time, by the way. So same session that we used to be trading. It's a 2-hour window to look for trades. We are going to be taking 4 trades per day max. If we take 2 L's in a row, we are going to be done for the day. I was about done for the day. Sure, I accidentally typed that out, but we'll leave it. You can look to take 4 trades a day. If you can, there were some days when I was testing that we won 4 trades on a day, and those were some of our best days. All right, getting into the actual technical side of things, we are going to be on the 3-minute time frame only, playing with the trend always. We are always going to be looking to take a trade in the direction of trend. Some people like to play reversals. Some people like to play continuations. This model specifically is, I guess, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. It's kind of like a breakout trend. It's kind of like a continuation trend breakout strategy. So we're going to be on the 3-minute time frame only, playing with the trends. Number 5, our max stop loss is going to be 80 points. So any trade that we see a setup for, if the stop loss is over 80 points, we will not be taking it. You are going to need 2 sizes worth of contracts for this strategy. If your stop loss is greater than 40 points, that means you are going to go in half-sized, and vice versa. If your stop loss is less than 40 points, you're going to go in full-sized. If your stop loss is 40 points, well, it's really up to you. You could do whatever you want. I probably would go half-size just to be on the safer side, but if you're feeling ballsy, go for it. So for me personally, on my 50K account, I'm going to be trading 4 micros as my full size. So if my stop loss is less than 40 points, I'm going to be going in with 4 micro contracts. If my stop loss is greater than 40 points, I'm going to be going in with 2 micro contracts. So depending on the size of your account, you are going to be trading a different number of contracts. What I will say is this: we're going to have 2 TPs. So one thing you need to make sure of is that both your half size and your full size are even numbers so that they're divisible by 2, because the way that we're going to be trimming, we're trimming 50% of our position at TP1 and then the rest of our position, which is the other 50%, at TP2. So you need to make sure that your contract sizing always in a trade is divisible by 2. So you don't want to use 5 or 7. You always want to use an even number. Now I'm going to show you guys how to actually find an entry, and we're going to start on this day, which was last Friday, yesterday actually. First things first, let's replay it right here. All right, coming into market open. Now, one thing I used to do was wait for, a 9:45 to start trading. With this strat, we don't need to do that. Okay, coming in today, I actually just flipped bullish. Now, the reason I actually just flipped bullish, you're probably very confused because you're like, Mark, why the fuck would you be bullish? This looks very bearish. Yes, however, so I don't wait for closes above significant highs or lows. Now, the way that I'm trading this is I'm switching my bias. I'm looking at more significant highs and lows and levels. I consider this area right here to be, a decently significant level on the 3-minute. And even though we didn't close above it, just the fact that we wicked above it, I am going to actually switch my bias to a long bias. Now, this works on a smaller time frame from what I've seen, so I'm just going to roll with it. Anyway, we're looking for some longs here. Now, this is going to be pretty similar to my previous strat. Pretty much, if we're in a long bias, which we are right now, what I'm going to be looking for is a pullback candle, which a pullback candle by my definition is simply a red candle close, followed by a bullish confirmation candle within the next 2 candles. However, there is some specifications that I have to go over with you guys that I have changed to this thing. So we're looking for a nice bullish confirmation candle right here, and boom, we actually get one right there. So right here, like I was just saying, our pullback candle is going to be a red candle. Right here, we have a pullback candle. Now we're looking for the next 2 candles to give us that bullish confirmation to possibly enter a long setup. This candle right here, I'm actually going to take an entry on, and here is why. I am always looking for my confirmation candle to get, in this case, above the top of the wick of the pullback candle. The top of the wick of the pullback candle is right there. So when this candle printed right here, I'm saying, okay, I'm looking for the next 2 candles to at least wick above this. First candle does not. Second candle does. Perfect. What else does the second candle do? It closes very bullish. Yes, the top wick is bigger than the bottom wick. However, that is a very bullish candle. I am going to take a long setup upon the close of this candle. If this candle was to close here, right there, let's say, for example, that this candle was to close right here, I would not take it at the close. What I would do is set a limit order for a long position right here at 19,682.5, which is the high of the top of the wick of the pullback candle. This is something that I have implemented that gives me a better fill, and it helps with a couple things. One, it makes our TP closer, and it makes our stop losses smaller a lot of the times. Just overall gives us a better fill by about 15 to 20 points every time. However, the maximum distance that I want the pullback to be in any scenario is no bigger than 20 points. Otherwise, I will consider it too far gone. If you ever hear me say in like live VC that candle is too far gone, that's what I mean. But in this scenario, since this candle closed below where I would have liked to get my ideal fill anyway, I am going to fill at the close of this candle. This, in my eyes, is the best scenario and best case setup that I can possibly have. What I'm going to do is take my Fibonacci retracement tool and go like this, start from it right there, and I'm going to set my stop loss at the low that we created upon the, that pullback. So we had that pullback right there, right? We're calling this candle right here our pullback candle. And we created the low right here. So we're going to put our stop loss there. Let me get rid of this line just for the example's sake. Now right here, I'm going to enter my trade at the close of this candle. Now what I do, my Fibonacci settings are as follows. I have the 0, the 1, the 2, and the 3. The 0 right here represents our stop loss level. The 1 right here represents where we filled, or our entry. The 2 represents our first take profit, where we are going to set a limit order to sell half of our position if we get there. And our third level all the way up here represents our all-out take profit, where I'm going to get naked on live if we hit. We end up filling right here. You don't need to use the Fibonacci for this. I just find it a lot more convenient that you can just quickly drag it onto the chart and then it instantly will show you the numbers. Now in this case, our stop loss is 70 points big. So going back up to our rules, if our stop loss is greater than 40 points on my 50K account, I'm going to be in 2 micro contracts on this trade. Anyway, let's just see what happens. We're in this, we come up almost close to TP. Okay, boom, first take profit hits. Once first take profit hits, I sell half of my position. Like I just said, I'm going to be in 2 micros total on this trade, so I'm going to sell 1 micro at that first TP. After I hit my first TP, I'm going to set an order for the rest of my position for my stop loss to be at break even, making this now a completely risk-free trade. So I have 1 more contract left in this thing because remember I had 2, sold 1 here, means I have 1 left. So I set an order to get out at 1 contract right here, making my stop loss at break even. Let's see what happens. It ends up getting hit right there. Perfect. We're now 1 for 1 on the day. You can probably already see where this is going. I still have a bullish sentiment. Now, the way that I used to trade, I would have flipped my bias to shorts because we have a low right here that we closed below. Not even just closed below, but wick below, like I explained earlier. This is kind of what I was explaining earlier about my, my intuition. I am still bullish on this. I probably wouldn't become bearish unless we were to break kind of this area right here, right? Especially just after we had that move up. Looks like we're kind of holding. In my eyes, we broke above this area and we're kind of coming down right here to retest it. I'm still bullish. You guys might already be able to spot, oh wow, look at that. We're still, okay, we have a bullish bias once again, and this candle looks really good to go long. We had a pullback candle, which would be this candle right on over here, this 1009 candle, right? A red candle followed by one of the next 2 being a bullish confirmation candle. And we also, once again, always want to make sure that it gets above the high of the pullback candle, which would be right there, which it did. Now, though, this is the second scenario. Remember earlier, so this was the first trade we took. We actually executed our entry right on here as opposed to here because this candle closed as bullish confirmation below the top of the pullback candle. However, right here, you can see that the top of our pullback candle is actually right here and we closed above. I do not want to fill right here. This is what I was talking about earlier on the thing that we do to get better fills. At the close of this candle, I'm going to set a limit order. Actually, first thing I'm going to do is make sure that this is less than 20 points. And it is. It's 15 points. Remember earlier I said I don't want the pullback to be any longer than 20 points. Otherwise, I'm going to consider that too far gone. This is within 20 points. And I mean, when that's the close of the candle. What I'm going to do at this point after this candle close is set my order to go long at this level right here, which is the top of the wick of the pullback candle. Now, this is going to be just literally inverse opposite. If you're short, you're going to want to set your order at the bottom of the wick of the pullback candle. But when we're bullish, this is what it's going to look like. So I'm going to set my order for 19,702. It's going to look something like this. I'm going to check how big my stop loss is, and it is just under 40 points. So we're actually going to be full size on this trade if we fill. We only wait 1 candle after the confirmation candle that I say, okay, I want to enter longs to get filled. If this candle doesn't fill us on the next 3-minute candle, I will not take the trade. So let's see if we get filled. Perfect. We got filled right there. Now we're officially in the trade. We are full size, so we're in 4 contracts on my 50K account. Let's see what happens. Bang. TP1 hits. What do I do after TP1 hits? I move my stop loss to break even, and stop loss break even gets hit. So we are now 2 for 2 on the day, and we are going to look for another setup. Remember, we can take up to 4 trades per day. So we've taken 2. We can still look for some more. We still got about 45 minutes before we're done trading for the day. Now, right here, funny enough, right after we get stopped out, yet another setup presents itself. Actually, I think that is even, on the candle that stops us out at break even, the close of that candle actually presents another setup. I am still bullish. Once again, you can see we had a low right here that we actually held. Now, like I said earlier, once again, this is a great example. The way that I used to trade, I actually would have flipped bearish after we went under that low, but since we held it so well, even though we wicked under it, I'm going to consider us still bullish, and we're just in this very nice uptrend on the day, right? Move up, little pullback, move up, little pullback. What am I anticipating to happen next? Boom. This candle right here is going to be our pullback candle, this 10:39 a.m. candle. The top of the wick of it is right there, so we want one of the next 2 candles to at least just wick above it. This first one does. It also closes very bullish. You can see the top wick is about 9 points big, and the bottom wick is about 14 points big, meaning that buyers, this candle is showing me that buyers are pretty strong. The bottom wick's, you know, significantly bigger than the top wick. We also wicked above our top of the wick of the pullback candle. It's exactly what I want to see. Now, what can you also notice? We closed under the top of it, right? So that's that level again. We closed under it. So actually, what are we going to do? This is going to be the same setup as this first trade that we took down here. We're going to go ahead and fill immediately at that candle close. Double check how big our stop loss is. It's going to be 41 points. So we're actually just barely going to be half size on this trade. So boom, at the close of this candle, I'm now in with 2 micros. Again, I'm half sized. Let's see what happens. Bang, TP1 hits, set my stop to break even, and we got stopped out break even. We can still look for one more trade. I am still bullish. I would become bearish if we were to probably get below right here, and it looks like we don't get anything else after that. Alrighty guys, replaying another day. We're gonna go on to Thursday, and I will tell you guys, Thursday went insane. This was one of my first days live trading this strat, and it went fucking crazy. Spoiler alert, we went 4 for 4 on this day, but let's go ahead and backtest it. So coming into open, we are going to be bullish right off of rip. Now you can probably notice I actually was looking for a long setup right there. Actually, no, I wasn't. That pullback would have been bigger than 22 points. So fuck that. Scratch that. We're looking for longs. Looking for a pullback handle. We get one right there. We get one right here. No, that top wick is too big for me. I'm probably just going to kind of go a little quicker through this now that I kind of explained how to actually find your strat. I just want you guys to get, you know, just to see more of it and get some more reps in. So I'm going to go over a couple more, but I'm not going to explain them as in depth. If you need just another in-depth explanation, just rewind and watch over anything that I just talked about. So we are bullish right here. Boom. First setup is going to come right there. Now I'm going to actually cut that candle back off. Now, what do we notice? We have our pullback candle right here. Top of the wick is right there. Boom. This candle gets above it, and even it closes above it. So we're not going to fill at the top of that candle. We're going to set a limit order for right there, and we're going to be in right there. Okay, boom, we got filled. First take profit hits. We're going to be full sized on this one because stop loss is just smaller than 40 points. Boom, full TP hits. All right, perfect. Great. We're now 1 for 1 on the day. Now looking for another setup. We are going to get it right there. Why? Okay, we have our pullback candle right here. First candle, yeah, pretty bullish candle, but it didn't get above there. But the next one can. And it does, and it closes very bullish. Bottom wick, look how much bigger the bottom wick is. Now I'm going to set my limit order for right there. And I'm going to have my stop loss right here. Let's see if we get filled. Spoiler alert, I already know we do. Okay, we do. We get filled right there. First take profit hits, and then we get stopped out at break even. What do you know? Right after we get stopped out break even, another setup presents itself. Pullback candle. One of the next 2 candles looking for it to get above there. It very much so does. However, we closed above it, so got to make sure that is less than 20 points. It is. The pullback is less than 20 points. Going to set my limit order to fill right there. Stop loss right there. Make sure our stop loss is a good size, 37 points. All right, I'm going to know we're going to be full size if we get in this. Let's see if we get filled. We get filled right there. First take profit hits, move stop to break even. Stopped out break even. Still bullish. Still looking for one more setup. All right, now I'm bearish. We came down, got below here. Now I'm bearish. Let's see if we get a bearish setup. Boom, we get a bearish setup right here. Pullback candle is this green candle. Now this is this is actually really good because I've only showed long setups so far. So this is a short setup. So right here we flip bearish as we get under this, you know, little zone right here. Even close below it right there, as you can see. We have our pullback candle right here. Now, pullback candle can be any of these candles. Say this red candle was to show up after this one or this one. That still would have been valid. But this candle right here is our pullback candle. We want to now see one of the next 2 candles get below there. This one does, and it also closes very bearish. However, we closed well below there, so we don't want to fill right there. We want to fill right here. Let's just double check and make sure that's within 20 points. It sure is. We're going to set our order on trade of 8 to fill us for right there. Let's see if we get filled on the next candle. Remember, we only want the next candle afterwards to fill us. If this candle didn't fill us, we wouldn't get in the trade. Right here when we took that long, we got filled on the next candle right here. Same thing here. We're taking this short. We want to get filled on the very next candle, and we do. Stop loss right up here at this high. Take profit hits, and I'm pretty sure we stopped break even though this ran to full TP. Yeah, so you can see we filled right here. First TP hit here, stopped at break even. This thing actually ended up dumping, so if we held it, we would have been up more, but obviously got to respect the rules. That makes us 4 for 4 on this day. This was my best trading day of the week last week. or, this past week, I guess I should say. Guys, honestly, man, this strat is pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. I'm going to post this strat in my Discord journal section. I'm going to post my entire backtest document. If you guys are curious, you can look through it and see all of the data that I collected on it. That's pretty much it, guys. Most reason that I'm really liking this strat and thinking that it works so well is reading pure price action on the 3-minute. And we're implementing a handful of rules to give us a kind of model / outline to follow and keep our mental, clarity in check, I guess. We are still also using a bit of our intuition and just general market experience, which I also really enjoy. And I think that this strategy moving forward is going to do really well. Last 3 weeks, if you traded this strat exactly the way that I've tested it, it ended up $2,748 with a 75% win rate. That is on a 50K account with 2 to 4 micros. If you had 5 accounts, $13,500. And then what I did also was I went ahead and I tested a lot of the red weeks that we had in January and where there was really bad price action. And I'm not going to go in depth with it here, but what I want you guys to do is I'm going to post the notepad thing that I made while doing all of this. I want you guys to look at it because I wrote comparisons and notes under a lot of the data sets. And I compared the numbers directly head to head of the different strats and how much this brought back the losing or red weeks is crazy. For example, the week of January 13th, this strategy that I just showed you actually ended red. So if you traded this strat on that week, you would have ended down about $450 with a 40% win rate. So really not the best week. However, with our previous strat, the way I tested it, you would have been down $1,350 with a 33% win rate. I would much rather be down $500 on the week than almost 1,400. That just goes to show, guys, I have put in a lot of hours to this, so I really would appreciate if you like the video and subscribe. I really hope that we can do something with this strat, get some more payouts with it. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment at me in the Discord, preferably is the best way to reach me. Love you guys so much. Make sure to like the video and subscribe. Later.